I'll tell you a little story. I actually knew when I was working with IntroWest, the advertising agency that we were working with, I won't say who it was, were charging us $300 an hour to use essentially the creative people in their agency. And I knew the people working in their agency, and I knew that they were getting paid about $30 an hour. So somewhere in there's got to be some economics that made sense and that afforded a new business model. And I was a frustrated buyer, so I was scratching my own itch. Secondly, creating ads was slow. If I wanted to get a new ad into market, it was the next quarter by the time it affected my bottom line. So I had to go through 4 weeks of planning the ad, discussing strategy, doing execution, then another 4 weeks of production and approvals, and by the time it was actually in market and it was affecting my bottom line, it was the next quarter. In comparison, I could go to Google, sign up today, and have an ad running in 5 minutes. The best part is I actually paid for it by credit card, so I could have the traffic come into my website, I could convert the traffic, book the sale, and not have to pay for acquiring the traffic until 30 days from now. It totally changed the business model, and this is the way that the world is working now. Fourthly, creating ads was a black box. I didn't even know what was going on. I couldn't talk to the people directly. It was just a pain in the ass. So we essentially created ADHACK as a creative platform to connect the people who are in agencies and who are in brands to the people who are making the ads. Seems like a simple concept, right? If you want great copy written for your ad, for your bus shelter, go directly to the copywriter. But essentially, ad agencies work by locking up the creative people and charging them out at this rate and paying them this rate. It's a classic services business. We wanted to create a platform that really connected those two people through the web in a way that enabled search and discovery so people could find each other, and in a way that enabled projects and workflow so they could get the work done, and in a way that took care of some of the hard things like transactions and rights management. How do I know if I'm going to pay for this ad, I'm going to actually get it? How do I know that they have the rights to all the assets used in it? So these are some of the hard problems that we're really focused at solving. And we thought that offers some pretty compelling solutions to the problems that we saw. So we offer a direct purchasing model and global creators instead of expensive, limited resources. We offer on-demand creation, so you don't have fixed costs under your roof or that you're paying for in an agency on an ongoing basis, no matter how much you use them. And we offer an open creative process, and we work through a process called crowdsourcing, which is a little buzzwordy, but which essentially means throwing it open to participation from anyone who wants to participate at different levels, and then graduating people through it depending on their expertise and the quality of work that they do. In terms of market context, and this is really kind of how we look at the advertising world overall, and this is really focused on the creative side of the advertising world. I know a little bit about the media side, and I can talk about that if you want, but this is really the creative side. There's big ad agencies. They're high cost, they're high quality. That's really what they're focused on. They're pretty good at it. They're not going to go away, but the business is changing. And it's being eaten away by people like 99 Designs, who do logos and web pages and simple stuff, and CrowdSpring, which offer a community of 11,000 designers for people to be able to tap into, and iStock Photo, which offer simple ways for you to go onto the web and buy stock photos that you need for $1, $2, $3, instead of paying somebody who has a collection, hundreds or thousands of dollars for the same photo. And we really see ourselves playing sort of in good quality and moderate cost range, offering a range of services, sort of represented by the size of the bubble. That's my drawing skills. But really good value. Now, our challenge really in coming at this market and being a disruptor into this market is that the traditional market is high touch. So people expect what's called a full service ad agency. So full service means tickets to the Super Bowl or tickets to the Lions game or whatever it is that the game is in town. They expect limo rides, they expect dinners out and stuff like that. It's really kind of a high touch. So we're really focused on changing expectations with the benefits. So they can get more ads created, they can get better ads created, they can get them created faster. Secondly, if it's built around really that high touch, it's built around friends, relationships, and networks. And really that comes down to building a trusted source. So we have to become a trusted source. That's our challenge. So we have to prove our industry expertise and essentially stake out a position in the marketplace that's different but valuable. And lastly, I think there's a real difference around generational change. If the biggest single qualifier that we have of whether someone is going to become a client or not is whether they use web-based tools like Basecamp and web banking and things like that already or not. If they don't, it's a really tough sell. it's really difficult for us to get them using a web-based system to source talent to deliver projects if they don't already use the web for workflow and stuff like that. So this is one of our prime qualifiers. So that's kind of the introduction. I would love to talk and answer questions about what you need to know about the advertising industry, investing in the advertising industry, where the margins are today, and where the margins are disappearing. So the question is, if I can paraphrase and what I heard you say, was on ADHACK today, do you do strategy or is the client responsible for that? That's one of the traditional full service agency services that they provided, right? So today, yeah, we don't do a lot of strategy. We're really about the execution side of things. So generally our buyers come to us and they know what they want. The stage that we're at right now is that one job is for one creator. The next stage that we're getting to and that we're working on right now really hard, which is kind of a sneak preview, is one buyer to teams, and teams comprise a strategist, a project manager, an art director, whoever you need essentially. And buyers can assemble teams, and teams can self-assemble as well. So in fact, if you were a great copywriter and I was a decent designer and your friend was, a great videographer or something like that, and we had to find a couple other video editors or something, we could go into business on the site and capture clients there and build strategy and do the whole thing. Yeah. So the question was, how do we, if I can paraphrase, how do we match the right quality of creator or quality of talent and quality of work to the job? And we use a couple of different factors as signals. And then we also help people see essentially what it is. So I'll start with the second part, which is every creator on the ADHACK site actually has a portfolio full of the work that they've done in the past. So if I'm looking for a graphic designer, I can find exactly what they've done in the past and what they want to showcase. The second thing that they have is a reputation on the site, built from their activity and built from past buyers. So we recognized pretty early on that we couldn't vouch for everybody personally, not so scalable a model. So we built what we call a reputation currency that sort of builds over time and is the prime metric for ranking creators on the site. So if you do a search for graphic designers in Vancouver, we've probably got 30 of them, and they're ranked by the reputation currency that we call cred. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we try and coach the buyers to use price as a big signal of the quality that they're looking for, and that there's a negotiation back and forth between creator and buyer. So a buyer will post a job, it'll get matched to these creators. The creators can essentially negotiate the price and decline the job or accept the job. So we tried to make it as marketplacey as we could.
The creative that has signed up with ADHACK and the client, or would the client sort of be on the call for that coming up with?
Lesson number one is always, like, as a startup, the hardest thing to change is the team, right? So invest in teams. It's kind of become cliched, but like I won't be leaving ADHACK until we're to a certain size. And so if you don't work with me and you don't believe in my vision and my ability to execute, you're not a good investor in ADHACK, to be honest with you. So team, number one. The second thing is the idea will change. Assume that the idea will change. So whatever somebody is telling you is like their execution plan today, they've got this traction and they've built this business and they've got these sales and they've been able to do everything that, like this, that will change as well. Because the early market is not an enduring market, and your early adopters in lots of cases are not, in classic sort of crossing the chasm terminology, are not, the early mainstream either. So team, track record, and ability to pivot and adapt the idea to market conditions. Essentially what you're looking for as a startup is to get to product market fit as quickly as possible, so that you start getting evidence of customers, which is the only sustainable source of revenue, as soon as possible.